We're back.
Always gotta throw in a good just gotcha video for you.
I love it. But unlike him and Texas, we actually are back.
We indeed are back. Welcome to Go Deep Dive, episode 15. Very nice. Don't necessarily count the recaps in the actual number of the um of episodes, but here we are doing our thing. Yeah, it's I'm excited to be back. It's nice. It's very nice. But I'm enjoyed my time away.
Yeah.
Feels like time doesn't exist in Italy for whatever reason, man. Like everything is so chill. Like the only two things they do fast is they get your food out really fast, and then all the Italians, like in the little coffee shops and bars and everything like that they have out there. Like they go to the bar, they have their little espresso shot, and they drink that. And It takes them about 20 seconds, and they're in, they're out, and they're done. Like it's the only thing that they do fast.
That's impressive, especially considering like how fresh the food is too. I mean, it's one thing if they just you go to Olive Garden and it's quick, because it's Olive Garden. But yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that there was such a. I mean, I knew coffee was a big thing out there, but until you were telling me about the coffee culture out there, I had no idea.
Oh yeah, and like they get mad at you if you like order coffee at like certain times or at certain ways, and like, no, not doing that. Or I wouldn't do that. And it's like, all right, got it, thanks.
That's all. That's how I felt out here, though. I know what you're saying. It's like I look at the clock. Usually, I got a pretty good idea of what time it is throughout the day, even on weekends. But like since I've been out here, for those who don't know, I've been on the beach, been at the beach since Friday night. So the same thing. I'm like, I have like I can't tell. It could be, it could be 11:30 at one point. It could be 4:30. I have no idea.
No clue. It's the beauty of vacation. It is
Yep.
indeed the beauty of vacation. We've got a lot to talk about since the last time we chatted. Coach O was still on the hunt for a job, but he lands back at LSU in a role that I think is absolutely perfect for him. And if you haven't checked out what I wrote on the Nose website, go check that out. Kind of talk about. Thank you. I'm very self-conscious about my writing. Like I can get up here and talk for ad nauseum, but writing is like the one thing I'm just like, I don't know if I'm any good at that. Like,
You sent it to me, and I was like, "What do you need me to?" What? Yes, it's great.
I don't know. Like I'm just self-conscious about my writing. Like I was never like I was trained to write at a certain point,
Yeah.
and then I didn't. But I wrote before I was trained to write, so it's like a weird little time mishap kind of thing. Yeah, he's coming in as basically this isn't necessarily his role, but he's going to be a recruiting coordinator, and he's going to help out on defense as well. And it came at a good time because LSU had a number of official visits this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit. But I do want to talk about Lane Kiffin and Coach O, back-to-back episodes, ironically, on Pardon My Take. Really, really good stuff there. And I kind of used a lot of quotes from those shows in the article. It was nice to hear from Lane again because he hasn't really been on social media for, 3 weeks now? Is that how long it's been?
They're talking about. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. Yeah. Even I've missed even just the morning pictures of the coffee mug.
Right.
It's been quiet.
It's been extremely quiet. But whatever's best for his mental health and his work ethic, we're all here for because we got to win some games.
Right.
Lane Kiffin was the start. Was the first of the two episodes, and I think really, I don't really think the Vanity Fair article, which we had talked about previously, um, really did the story of the mindset of Lane Kiffin justice enough as it was a hit piece on Lane Kiffin in a way.
Right.
Uh, and I think you kind of got to dive deep into the mentality of Lane Kiffin throughout this entire process.
Yeah. I I think the best thing that they did was Big Cat said that they intentionally like hung out with him all day and played softball and got to know him and all that way. By the time they did the show, it was like they were friends, and that came across, and you got to see like a little bit more of a human side of Lane than we typically see. And I mean, like you were in Italy when I texted you. I think you said you had started reading it or listened to it or something. But like I texted Zach. I was like, dude, have you watched both of them? I was like, did you watch the Lane and O interviews? And I said, they're really good, like really good. Like I watched them, listened to them a second time, earlier, just because it was that good. But my favorite thing was, I mean, we can hear Lane talking about schemes and this and that anytime, but to hear him like just talk about the process of leaving Ole Miss and him self admit that he's bad at breakups and all that sort of stuff and be funny. It was really good. I enjoyed it even the second time.
Yeah, it like, and I've kind of got out of listening to PMT for a little while now, just because I used to listen into the car on the way to wherever I went. Working from home now, I don't really have the
Right.
opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that they always were able to do was like get break through like people's barriers and like show more the
Yep.
human and comedic side of people.
Yep.
And it was really nice to see that side of Lane because you see it on Twitter. You never see it in interviews. Like anytime you see him in press conferences or interviews, he's like,
Yeah.
yes, we do this. And at the other place, we didn't do this
Yeah.
and
The place.
whatever. Like, it's just
Yeah.
our process, and like,
Yeah.
it's nice to hear him kind of cut up and laugh a little bit.
It was, and not to get too far off base with like what PMT does, but I feel like they get looped in with a lot of people at this like Barstool, understandably. But like I try to tell everyone, like they are Barstool, but they're not. Like they're their own
Right.
thing, and that's always been my favorite thing. I've always said like with them, some of their best interviews are the ones that you don't expect to be good. Just it's like somebody random, but like they do exactly that, and they dig in and just make people feel comfortable, just like have a conversation. And like I said, I seeing that side of Lane because we know like we've heard that like he's like an introvert, like he acts like an extrovert or whatever that word is. I always say introvert because that's what I am, but he acts like on social media like he's outgoing and goofy and trolly and all. But then like people always say like you meet him in person and he's like you just explained this rigid, structured guy. So we got to see him actually act like not the troll part on Twitter, but the guy that has fun, and it's just I mean, I'm not saying anybody's gonna make a decision to commit based on that interview, but people seeing that side of it could absolutely help. It's like, oh, like he's, seems like a fun guy to play for, like this it's gotta at least mean something, just him to act like a human.
Right. And I mean, I think players see that a lot more than what fans and media sees, just because, I mean, he's, sitting there cutting up when dunking the basketball on the sidelines when they're doing well. But until you kind of get to have that relationship with him, you don't really know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the breakup was a big thing that they had talked about as well. And I think at this point, until you kind of see Lane in purple and gold in Death Valley, like that'll be the first question anybody who interviews him will ask is about the breakup.
Yeah.
But I think PMT being PMT got him to open up a little bit more on it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it doesn't take like an expert to understand or feel like or come to the conclusion that he wasn't crazy about the way things ended. I mean, we can all see that, but I thought it was interesting that he mentioned that he would do it differently if he had the chance to do it again. He said, for those that didn't listen, that if he could do it again, he would not try to spend that whole weekend convincing Ole Miss to let him coach in a playoff game. He would have just let it go, and said, "I understand," and then just said, but I'm leaving, and just moved on. And would that have really changed anything? Probably not. It still would have been a circus, with the, he even mentioned that, like, the airport would have still been the airport, and all that. But maybe there's a part of him that feels like, not that he strung them along, but wasted their time a little bit, by fighting as much as he did, because that's, they played the Egg Bowl Friday morning, and then
Yeah.
they spent like the rest of Friday, all day Saturday at the AD's house, and we're still trying to figure out. It wasn't until Sunday morning, really late Saturday night, maybe Sunday morning, that we heard something.
Yeah, I and I'll say this with any situation that comes up, and not just the Lane Kiffin situation. It's the system. It's the
Yeah.
system. It really is. I was actually listening to Josh Pate in his show recently. It might have been on my way back, and he had the chairman of the college football playoff committee on as a guest. And Josh doesn't do guests a whole lot, and if he does, it's coaches or Cole Kublik, but he doesn't really have like people like that as guests on his show. And one of the things that they talked about was kind of shifting everything up to give a little bit more room in that area to be able to kind of fix that. I think it's something that's got to happen. It's something that's got to happen, really.
Yeah, right. And just putting a blanket statement calling it the Lane Kiffin rule is not the answer. Like that's such a ridiculous phrasing there. I don't like. To me, that just feels like pandering. Like, to just knowing that will get you popularity if you hate on Lane Kiffin nowadays. But
Right.
I
Well,
digress.
and it seems like a lot of people are jumping on that train just, to get more clicks. Shout out
Yep.
Paul Feinbaum.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man. I mean, there's a good bit of things that we can go through. Another one of the funny things was Juice being his dog. That was a great segment of that
Awesome.
interview. Oh man.
And he said we're gonna need a couple like mouth swabs to confirm his identity. Yeah, that was good. That was, like you said, I can't say it enough, but go watch it if y'all haven't. But they asked him, they said, "This is gonna be a hard hitting question here. Is Juice actually your dog?" And Lane explained that it is. Landry had picked him out originally, and then he spends time with the trainer, they got him from when he's gone a lot, when Landry's at school and no one's home. But explained that he's going to be in Baton Rouge full time once Lane gets a house. That's why he's not there now.
Right.
But man, when they got on FaceTime and made him walk across the house and say Juice, and he comes running, and they're like, "Yep, that's Juice," and that confirms it.
The FaceTime part of that was so funny, and that's like very like typical like PMT is like,
Yeah.
Like as Big Cat likes to say, it's great radio. It's great radio.
Right.
Like, we're just
Right.
calling somebody in the middle of a podcast and being like,
Yep.
"Oh
Yeah.
man."
That was good.
Some of the other nitty gritty stuff, comparing this team to last year's Ole Miss team, kind of having to reshuffle a lot. It's a very, very interesting aspect of it that I didn't really think about, and that he's kind of having to run this back in a similar way.
Yeah, for sure. He was, the question was, there's 60 transfers coming in, and how is that, it's something that he hasn't actually fully dealt with and all. And he's like, he said, like, 2024 Ole Miss was like the team that they went all in on with Jackson Dart. That was supposed to be a team to go to the playoff, and then they lost, everybody, all the 1-year portal guys and all. So he said, like, 2025 Ole Miss, the playoff team last year, was built up, with a lot of transfers. He had to rebuild it. He added in a caveat that there was still some guys there, that knew their whole process. It was still Ole Miss, so he's coming to LSU, and there's 3 or 4 the guys that transferred from Ole Miss that have played for him. That's the only ones that know. So that it's different, but just explaining that amount of turnover, and when or lack of carryover from the year before, and how they have to deal with that, is an interesting conversation, or interesting topic, and I mean that even kind of ties into I think what they were talking about with the paid players, and how that is now. Because obviously you get 60 transfers, they signed NIL contracts along with who's here. I thought it was interesting that because we see it and we say, you know, it's like they're professional athletes or it's like the pros and all, and we look at it as like that's not good because we want college athletics to be college athletics. But Lane says that that's actually a good thing. He said because that's the way they talk to them and treat them anyway, and they can say, "Fine, you don't want to do this, then you're gonna get fined. You're gonna lose money." And that was just to me that was an interesting perspective that they liked that part of it.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense because you want to get paid. Like, not that I'm against guys getting paid, but you want to
Right.
get paid. Like, we're going to treat you like an employee. Not
Right.
that you should be an employee, but we're going to treat you like you are treated in the NFL. And I think
Right.
really that's probably why you've seen Lane Kiffin's teams since the NIL era continue to step up. And it's because Lane didn't, growing up, Lane didn't spend his childhood around college mostly.
Right.
He spent his childhood around the NFL a lot. Lane
Yeah.
himself coached in the NFL for a few years. So, while he's been a college coach for the majority of his working career, he's maybe a little bit more familiar with the NFL and how the NFL works just because it's what's ingrained in him and it's what he's seen his entire life.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's why his name popped up. Thinking what when the Giants job was open, there was that little bit of concern, well, is LSU battling Ole Miss in Florida or are they battling the NFL? Because that could still happen one day. We'll see, but yeah, for sure. For those that don't know, his dad, Monty Kiffin, was one of the best defensive coordinators of all time, and in the game for I'm sure 50 years or something. But yeah, that's a good point that he spent probably more time, while on this earth, around the NFL, professional game.
Some other X's and O's thing. Talked about the quarterback a little bit and how he kind of views the quarterback position. How they adjust to the style of play that their quarterback has.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear him say that because you look at the guys that he's had. I mean, I haven't really dug too deep into FAU, but his Ole Miss guys were all movable guys in
Right.
terms of their ability. You had some guys who could sling it, don't get me wrong, but they were all mobile quarterbacks. So I think he probably does have a favorite if I had to guess, but I guess I can see how it works both ways. What did you kind of take from that?
I mean, he said competitiveness was the first thing that he mentioned. But he said, you're right, the athleticism. He said the way he quoted it was that he likes a quarterback that can make the out of rhythm plays, one that can adjust, and that doesn't necessarily mean breaking off a 25-yard run, or 80-yard touchdown run like Jaden Daniels. That's not necessarily what that means. But be able to move his feet and just make something of a broken play and just scramble out, buy himself a little bit more time, buy his receivers a little bit more time, be able to find a guy. And I think he didn't necessarily say this, but also I think part of that too is he runs the tempo offense. You have to have an athletic quarterback that can, get them going, keep them to the line. Um, it's gonna be harder for a Ben Roethlisberger to run tempo all game. Somebody that's massive like that, just like that big. I mean, shoot, even like Drew, his thing wasn't tempo. He could do it when needed to. I mean, like all game. Don't get me wrong. But just somebody that can stay on their feet and I would imagine although he didn't say this, I'd imagine you know all quarterbacks have to be smart, but there's got to be like an intelligence level and quick reaction level to like a Lane Kiffin quarterback to be able to run and keep up with his offense as well.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me kind of wonder what Burrow and Daniels would have looked like in a Lane Kiffin offense. Like, Burrow had the greatest season of all time, like single season. Like, I can't even imagine the numbers he would have put up in.
Like if they were running 20% more plays because they were moving with tempo, like that's crazy.
Ooh. And think about like Joe's confidence level. Like,
you're right.
You throw tempo into that, Joe's cooking you, man. Ooh,
yeah.
Anything else that you want to touch on from the Lane interview before we segue into Coach O?
Looking through the notes, I thought just real quick, he kind of mentioned what we all already know, the Big Ten SEC debate. He mentioned how, this is worth noting. This is something because there's people are probably gonna be looking. I know, you got Clemson this year. There's already scheduled games. But when asked about the Big Ten kind of running the show now, and he described how the Big Ten schedule, compared to the SEC schedule, especially now with the 9th game, he straight up said that he was a proponent of keeping it at 8 games and letting them choose their 4 non-conference. And he also mentioned that he doesn't like the big games like LSU's played, like all of these week 1 games, the neutral site games. So don't expect that because it seems like that's not, especially with the 9th game. Lane mentioned like he likes those 4 non-conference games, now 3 to be, the Southeasterns and Southerns or whatever, Northwestern states. Like that's the type of games, because he feels like that the SEC slate is enough, which it is. But he said that it's just not worth it to play those big games. He said you don't get enough out of it, but you can lose and it can hurt you. We've seen that for years with LSU. When they went through the 4 or 5 year stretch of losing. So that was something that LSU fans need to remember. Like after Clemson, and you got SMU. Like
I think you got SMU and Houston on the horizon, if I remember correctly.
But outside of that, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting any more of those Vegas or Orlando or Atlanta neutral site non-conference games to start the season.
Yeah, I'd expect to see a lot of I think the biggest non-conference game I can remember Ole Miss playing off the top of my head right now was Washington State.
Yeah.
Like I'd expect to see a lot of Washington State, Purdue, Northwestern. Trying to think about who else is Wake Forest, like lower level P5 teams just to hit that quota.
Right.
And then roll from there, to be honest. Last note before we segue into Coach O, Boosie doing the Tiger Walk. That was a funny little bit that they had there too.
I love that he immediately recognizes, like they asked about, like the rumor or whatever of Boosie maybe running out with them out of the tunnel. And he was like, no, that's sacred, with the Tiger Walk, maybe that, I kind of appreciated that. I'm like, he immediately, like he already knows like the, I don't know, authenticity of the LSU team and that being their thing and only their thing. That's not something that you bring guests out for, but the Tiger Walk being cool. But man, that would be electric. I'll say that. Like you walk out with Blair and set it off, or that'd be awesome.
It would be incredible. It would be incredible. Get Brady Fajoko back in there. See Lane Kiffin start doing the haka. That'd be on my bucket list as well.
With Coach O too now in the picture. Yeah.
Oh yes, man. But it seems like what ended up being the most important and most timely thing that he said was, and it was, I'm going to say it the same way I said in the article, like Big Cat PFT asked this as semi as a joke. But he's like, have you gotten out to go see Mike and like develop a relationship with Mike the Tiger? And he's like, I tried to have a moment with him, and I was like, where like you're the Tiger, I'm the coach, like like he's like, I don't know, it's like I don't understand like the whole thing. And he talked about like how Coach O like definitely like thinks he has a relationship with the Tiger, and like like they know each other and they talk to each other, whatever. And like Lane's like, that's why we need Coach O back. Like,
Yep.
and that's kind of where I started the portion of the article where it's like,
You miss no.
that's the culture that you didn't have for 4 years. Like it just
Yep.
it didn't really click. Like
No.
Frank Wilson was a bridge to the culture and the fan base from what Brian Kelly was doing with LSU. But it wasn't quite the same. And that was the biggest thing that stood out to me from the Coach O interview was, they asked him about Brian Kelly's first time walking out on the court for his introduction. And like, I'm not surprised that he said this. I was like, it caught me off guard.
Yeah, for sure.
Where he said, like, I knew it was done from there.
It's over. He ain't got a chance.
Right.
Like,
right. It's like, no shot. Like, part of my French, but like, they were going to smell the bullshit from a mile away.
Right. And that wasn't the only Brian Kelly diss that he threw in there, that interview too. He didn't hold back. There was another one where he was talking, about like Louisiana and all, and he said, that's what I told Lane. He said, because the last guy didn't do it. I got a long quote. I just thought it best summed up what you were explaining that he said, just the culture and all. This is what I forgot exactly what they asked him, but they just asked him about like Louisiana and all. And this was Coach O's answer. He said, embrace the state of Louisiana and its people. Use it to your advantage. Recruit them, love them, keep them involved. And when you walk down that Tiger Walk and there's 30,000 people, your feet are going to be that high. But when you walk out of that little tunnel, that little square, that's so small. That's so small, and you walk out and there's 100,000 people screaming at the top of your lungs. It's an energy level that you've never felt before. Use it as an advantage for your team. Recruit them every day. I think that's where he followed up and said, that's what I told Lane because the last guy didn't do that.
Yeah. I can't remember if I put that in the article or not. If I didn't, it's because like it was a hard thing to try to put a quote, try to put it to an article because he's like doing the hand gesture to show you.
Right.
Like, that's a weird thing to type
out.
Is
tough.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Like Brian Kelly thought we were spoiled.
Right.
Coach O thought he was spoiled.
That's a great way to say that.
And that is the biggest difference between the Coach O era and the Brian Kelly era.
Yeah.
Coach O was a privilege for him to be the coach at LSU.
Every day.
He was living his dream. Brian Kelly thought it was the dream of LSU and the fans for him to be the head coach. That's where it all went wrong. That's where it all went wrong. And for you to instill that reverence, like of a coaching staff to be where they are, to be at LSU, to be in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
That's bringing the culture back that was so dearly missed.
It is. I mean, and like that quote that he said about like walking through that, what he's talking about when he said that little square, that little tunnel is when they walk out, touch the wind bar, and go through the double goalpost. That's what he meant. He mentioned this in something too. He said, and everyone knows, don't go to the right or left. You go through them two goalposts. But you saw the recruiting video, like earlier this week or from last weekend, where the clip was like what 4 minutes long, and he gave like a 2-minute speech right at that door, exactly where he was talking about that door. And I mean, I don't know how you can not be, pumped up, want to go play for that. Man, it's such a good combination now. Like, I mean, it's I forgot who mentioned this, excuse me, but like what has actually transpired is exactly what we all said should happen when they rehired Lane. It's like, go get Coach O, get him on the staff. He doesn't need to do anything, recruit. And like it all happened. Like it's very rare that it seems like something that makes so much sense actually happens. And this time it did. And man, you can just have Lane do his thing and like I don't know. It just feels like Orgeron is gonna do the things that not that Lane doesn't wanna do, but he's gonna do the things to where Lane doesn't have to do them and do
Right.
it probably even better.
Right. And it's not that Lane can't do that stuff because, like, you saw him do it all at Ole Miss. Like, you can't really recruit. Ole Miss has a cap on recruiting, and any Ole Miss fan watching this clip can yell at me all you want. You have a cap on what you can do, right?
Right.
Lane did as much as he could in recruiting and getting the kids to Ole Miss that he could. LSU's not really capped out in terms of that because of the brand. And you instill somebody with such a lively personality to aid in recruiting and kind of be the face of LSU outside of like a head coach kind of thing.
Right.
Who loves the university so much. It's going to do wonders because I can tell you this, like I'm an LSU fan, like it's going to get me pumped up. But I'm sitting in the New Orleans airport at 4 a.m. listening to the Coach O interview, and I'm like, do I need to do push-ups? Do I need to start like doing laps around like the terminal? Like Coach O just had me so fired up. Right. And it's because like as I titled the article, like you were getting the face of Bayou culture back. You were getting the heartbeat of Bayou culture back into LSU. Like the one team, one heartbeat. It's back.
It is. It I think they asked Lane about it in his interview, and he kind of touched on, the culture and all, but like they even mentioned it. Like they see it from the outside. Like LSU lost that nasty mentality. And Lane even said he's like, excuse me. He's like when he coached for multiple different teams that had to come play at Tiger Stadium. Chase would know best. That's blood right there. But he's like, like Lane had to come when he was out of Alabama. He had to come, obviously at Ole Miss. I don't think Tennessee came here when he was at Tennessee. He was only there for a year. I don't think he did. But he'd been around it enough, where he said like they used to dread playing LSU. He said, and if you had to play them there on a Saturday, like Saturday night, good luck, and it just was missing, for 4 years. Like Babin said in the chat, like BK never tried to understand or even respect the culture of Louisiana and LSU. And that, that carries over, and it's just becomes, a right, not a privilege for everybody. If you act like it's a right, not a privilege, and everyone else is spoiled, then that carries down to your team, and there's only so much that can happen, especially when things aren't going well. And it just all falls apart in the second half against Texas A&M. That's what, like, we've never seen something like that remotely close any other time. Like when there's
and that was early in Coach O's era.
Right.
And that was early
again.
In the transition, right?
Yeah, he had him. Yeah, but it just it's probably hard for outside people to understand what we're saying, when we talk about the culture and all that. But it's a thing, and I know it's become a tagline and all, but Lane says it's just different, and like that's what he's talking about. Like it's not a shot at anybody else. It's just like there's just something about Louisiana. That's why Nick Saban continues to talk about it. Like it is what it is, and it's just good. It's good, not just to think about it coming back. Like we know it's coming back. Like we know it's gonna be there, and it's exciting.
It's extremely exciting. Some of the other things from the Coach O interview, talked a lot about 2019 because how can you not? The story of like, so I think it was kind of understood how Joe Brady got to LSU. Like he was with the Saints from Penn State, did a lot of work with the spread. But the best part of that was like him sitting there, like listening to Joe Brady on the whiteboard for 2 minutes. And he's like, we got to have him. Like we have to have him.
Yep. He said it like clicked like right then and there. He said, he even did the hand gesture. He said he thought they had to meet Alabama like physical, like, and that's how they had to play with him. And then he spends 2 minutes listening to Joe Brady and was like, and so he said, and I love that he gave the respect to Steve Ensminger too.
I was
He
just
said
about to say
like,
that.
I love it, man. I love that because he deserves it. He's obviously like we know why, but like Brady comes in and but for Ensminger to just be perfectly comfortable with this new young guy coming in and completely changing his offense, and him being all on board with it. The thing it doesn't work as well if Ensminger is not as on board as he was. But hearing him talk about that specific play, the last second touchdown after the interception to Clyde, the three levels concept, it was beautiful. He said that Thursday, all the coaches leaving early. I said one night that they get to leave early. No, Joe Brady's still in there. He doesn't leave till 6 a.m. when Coach O's getting back on Friday morning. Coach, I got him. I said, all right, let's go.
You gotta
That's
love it.
great.
You gotta love it. And that's why like as an NFL coach, like if Joe Brady was a college head coach, I'd be concerned. As an NFL head coach, I think Joe Brady's going to excel just because it takes more brain power to be an NFL coach when it comes to X's and O's as it does compared to college. Like, and
Yeah,
that's not
sure.
knocking any of the X's and O head coaches in college, but like Joe Brady is like it's extremely similar to Joe Burrow in a way, where like we've heard the story for a couple of years now that like Joe Burrow has the serial killer and elite athlete
Yeah.
mentality where like his blood pressure stays the exact same through highs and lows. Like he doesn't, and like Joe Brady, like kind of is cut from the same cloth in that way. Like he's kind of got that psycho mentality where it's like he's just locked in, he knows what he's got to do, and like he doesn't change.
Yeah. Coach O even mentioned that. They asked him about the first half of the Clemson, the national championship game. They down 17-7. And they mentioned that the game was back and forth. And Coach O said, back and forth, we're going to excuse my language, we're getting our ass kicked. Like he's like, I was pissed. I was about to lose it. And he said, 20-something-year-old Joe Brady, was he 29 at the time? Comes on the radio and says, stay calm, everybody. We're good. He said that just that right there made him feel better. And then next thing you know, you blink and it's 28-17 LSU.
Yeah. And the crazy part is like that was the most concerned I had been the entire season.
Right.
No, that wasn't even the closest game that like from start to finish of the season. I think the closest game was either Auburn or Florida. Yeah, Auburn. Yeah. Florida was a tight one too.
Florida was, yeah.
But like that was the most concerned I had been the entire season. I was like, oh God. And sure enough, which is weird because, and this is kind of a segue into another part that I want to talk about because, like, you go from Oklahoma and you're like touchdown to Clemson, where you're like, oh God, is this it? Like, is this the fall apart? And then they just take back off.
I mean, it's fair enough because his like to be concerned about Clemson because it's not. Anybody random. It's a Clemson team that was a defending national champion, with a offensive core that was part of that too, so like they had the pedigree, so it was concerned. But yeah, the Oklahoma game, man, it was when they asked them about, they said as coaches, you don't get to like sit back and like feel like the game's over before it's over. It goes against the whole coaching philosophy. And he's like, he said, did you feel good about the game? He said, feel good. We're playing a high school team. He said, I turned into a fan. He said, I was turning around, looking at everybody else. Like, did you see what Joe just did?
Oh man. I wonder how much of that is like, I think at the time you may have like thought that but didn't want to say it. But like thinking about it now, like Lincoln Riley being at USC and like Lane and Coach O like having been kind of kicked out of USC, if like there's some like hard feelings over that because it's like we played a high school team and look where he's at now.
It was 49-14 at halftime. Like, that was That
I,
one's over.
I was eating
I
ice cream in the second half out of the press box. So I was like, all right, I'll take another cup of ice
yeah,
cream.
right. Like, oh, just another one, like Justin Jefferson with his 4. Um, yeah, that one was funny. It's a weird memory for me of that game, but that was we were planning on we were so confident, like Coach O, because they're playing the high school, that we were going to be playing in the national title game, that we had already planned out hosting for the game. We're gonna have everybody over at our house for the national title game, and that was right when YouTube TV was kind of new and just getting going. And that's when, I mean, the delay still now is still bad, but like that's when
Right.
the delay was really bad. And
Hmm.
there was somebody in the subdivision would shoot off a firework every time LSU scored a touchdown, and they must have been watching on antenna or even direct TV maybe, because they were a good 20 seconds before us, and they, if y'all don't remember, there was a lot of touchdowns scored in that game. So every time it's like boom, I'm like, and not that it was a big surprise. We knew they were going to score again,
Right.
but we were so concerned. I'm like, dude, if we have people over for the national championship game and everything gets spoiled by somebody shooting fireworks off in the subdivision. But it's funny, somebody posted on the page and was like, all for the fireworks. I love it. He put like a 30-second delay on it for some of
Right.
us that are streaming. And then listen, they did. They were either at the game or they did, because yeah, it was perfectly fine. But yeah, a lot of touchdowns that game.
Oh yeah, it was a fun one to be a part of, and like just the whole vibe around the city of Atlanta was a lot of fun for that too. I remember just like going into the team and fan hotel and just like the talking to the bartenders, and they were like, "We're out of drinks. We're kind of out." Like, and I think that might have been where like the whole like LSU will drink entire cities out of alcohol started. May have been
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
Probably so.
that was a good one. The only other thing that I have was the kind of powwow, I think, as Coach O described it, with him and Dabo.
Yes.
Them asking each other questions and whatever, and then talking about Dabo asked Coach O not to start Joe or not to play Joe. That was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah. And then his response too. Yeah. He said that they were doing like their, press joint press interview, with everyone leading up to the game. And at the end, they allowed each coach to ask the other coach one question. He said that's when he knew he had him, because Dabo said, "Can you do me a favor and not play Joe?" And O said that he was this close. This close, he said, "I didn't say it, but I was this close to saying I wasn't planning on playing him in the fourth quarter anyway." I love it.
Oh man, I
We'll
love
never
Coach O.
like, as excited as I am about the future of LSU football, we will never see that again.
No,
And that's why we'll have to savor it the way that we do, because it doesn't mean that we will never have another great team. We will. Like,
right.
there's going to be another, like, Lane. I feel good about Lane winning one, but it's just not going to be that. Like, we will never see that again. It was special.
They will never make me hate Coach O. I love Coach O so much, man.
It was great. It was great. Like we said, if y'all haven't seen those, go on Netflix and go watch it. Back-to-back episodes, like Zach said, separate episodes. I was like halfway through the Kellen Moore episode. Kellen Moore is in the same episode with Coach O. So if you're a Saints
Mhm.
fan too, even Kellen Moore's was good. But go watch both of those interviews. They were very, very good and worth going back and listening to.
And I think they also have Travis Ajant coming up as well. I
I think
saw
you're right.
I saw
I
a
think you're
clip
right.
from an interview they did with him. I don't know if that's been posted or not yet.
I don't know.
But I think Travis Ajant is also coming up, which is very
Yep.
funny to me as well, because they talked about his last name, and that's something that always pissed me off, was like him going around everybody calling him ETN.
Yeah.
I know I don't think he's watching, but Chris pissed me off the other day, because he was like, "I'm not calling him Ajant. If he wanted to go by ETN his whole career, or Ajant his whole career, then he should have just said that." It's like, no, he tried. That's
Right.
why he ended up being. Chris
Right.
pissed me off. Chris pissed me off. Oh man,
Chris, when you start listening when we're on podcast form, then we'll stop talking smack. So this is
that
on
is
you.
right. That is right. Yeah, Chris did. My cousin, Chris, I always call him my cousin. I forget he's not blood. He's been around
Yeah,
my
right.
family for so long. My cousin Chris, who's in our Dynasty Fantasy Football League with us, Yeah, just he pissed me off with that. He knows he was rage baiting me with it too because he knows that I feel some type of way about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coach O coming in at a good time. Already, doing a lot of work with recruits. Official visits this past weekend. Wide receiver Easton Royal is going to be an interesting one to watch coming down the stretch. Canceled his visits to Ole Miss and Tennessee. Still going to visit Florida. Feels like it might just be down to Texas and LSU. I mean, he's still committed to Texas, but feels like LSU's getting hot there.
They do, and it's probably just a me thing trying to temper hopes and expectations. I just feel like after Underwood, after was it Decorian Moore? Was that his name?
Yeah.
All these big names that have flipped, late. I know this we want the flip this time, but
Right.
just gotten too excited, and like obviously things are going well. You got the people you've gotten, but it just feels like to me, and I hesitate to even say this because I don't want to bring down anybody else's excitement. I don't want to be a bummer, but like I wonder if he's just playing games, with like by putting the Go Tigers out there and
Right.
just having fun with it, which this is his right. He's earned his way to this point. So I'm hoping it's not just that, and like he's actually, if he doesn't flip, then it's just like to me it almost feels like that LSU was never in it.
Right.
Really. Like if you can't if everything this full court press that they've put on him doesn't get him, then he was never coming.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, it's and I feel like this game has been played before. I can't think of necessarily specific examples off the top of my head. Maybe Bryce Underwood being a similar one, just kind of the inverse, where the game is played the entire way, and then it's like, oh, nope, sorry, see ya. Maybe it was Pat Surtain that kind of played that game with LSU, and it's like, it's kind of teasing a little bit.
Maybe Joe McKnight too.
Joe McKnight is a really good one. You're right. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Joe McKnight is a really good one. But the universe does owe LSU a nice flipped commit. Jane Bryant decommits from LSU today, and Coop commits to Miami. Within 5 hours of him tweeting, in case y'all forgot, it's still Go Tigers or whatever, flips his commitment to Miami. How much money did Mario offer him at that point? Because, wow, to go that quick, yeah, pretty crazy.
It is, and not to circle back. This is a good call back to the O interview, but maybe before I listened to the O interview when he talks about Mario Cristobal in Miami, maybe I would have thought less of this, or just I don't know, thought like from what I know it's his guy, but the way Coach O talked about Mario Cristobal in Miami, it seems like they actually do have. I mean, I know they made it to the championship game last year, but I was in the impression it's just like, oh, let's just go. We're Miami, let's go toss money out there. Like we got the beaches and it's Miami, and that's what they got going for them. It seems like Cristobal's actually got something really, really good going there. The structure of everything, like he said, when they go out, it's all business. When they go out in the field, they're not talking about NIL and who's playing, whatever. It's just out there and work. And maybe they got to him with that. It is very, very, very strange to throw the Go Tigers out there, a couple hours before you do that. But as I try to remind myself all the time, we're talking about 18-year-old kids, 17 and 18-year-old kids, and if that's if that's their way of having fun with it and making the decision, it is what it is. But it's gotten to the point now with football. This is an example why, where like I have a hard time getting very excited about things until pen to paper. It's like we're going to be talking about this coming up in a few weeks, with like the MLB draft. Like I can't get excited about a baseball commit because the chances of him even stepping foot on campus, we don't even know. So it's hard to get excited. I know I'm a giant bummer. I'm sorry.
No, it's the truth of the situation. It really is. It makes me wonder if they kind of had some idea that he was going to do that, because they seem to have brought in a couple interesting defensive line pieces on official visits this past weekend. Jalen Brewster being one of them, 5-star out of Cedar Hill, Texas. I believe committed to Texas Tech. I'm going to play a quick video. Coach O doing what he does, getting his hands on these guys.
I love it. I love it, man. I love that he doesn't budge either. Like,
No.
did you notice that he just stays stiff as can be and he's got this strong dude. Like, where were they, by the way? Was that like a zoo?
I don't know. It looked like it. I couldn't figure out where they were either.
I forgot about it. I saw it the first time. When we put it up again, I still can't figure it out. But that's so good, man. Like, that's so good.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You don't see guys doing that anymore.
No.
The only person I can think of doing that off the top of my head is like you've seen clips of Vrabel doing that.
Yeah.
But like the age difference between Vrabel and Coach O, like Coach O's in his 60s still doing that, and I'd like
right.
It's the whole like purpose behind like part of my takes grit week, but like Coach O is just a football guy, man. He just loves football.
He does. And like, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Like the benefit of having O and not being your head coach is just like, go do that.
Right.
Go do that. We'll go visit some recruits and have some fun with them and do that and not have to worry about like the business side of it.
By all means. Yep. Love it. Run through another couple names before we close out recruiting here. Edge, Abraham Sesay, I believe is how you pronounce his name, 4-star out of Exton, Pennsylvania. Wide receiver athlete Xavier Sabb, 5-star out of Glassboro, New Jersey. Safety, Adryan Cole, 4-star out of Atlanta, Georgia. Cornerback Marquez Davis out of my neck of the woods, or close enough to my neck of the woods, out of Opelousas. And defensive lineman Mitchell Turner, 4-star out of Louisville, Mississippi. The last recruit I do want to talk about, Peyton Houston, absolutely lighting it up at Elite 11. Incredible. Like, he just keeps getting better. Like from the clips that I see, he spins it so well. In the running for MVP of Elite 11. That's going to be decided on June 26th, so be on the lookout for that. And I'm going to play another little video here. He got a nice little call from Coach O as well.
Coach O, what's up?
Oh, that Tiger, big dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, man, we're so excited about you. Man, I watched your tape today. Where did you get that quick release at?
Love it. Well, where you get that quick release at?
Yeah, like that's gotta be so cool. I mean, Peyton Houston's been all in as it is, and then now he can get calls like that from Coach O. It's gotta feel so special for him.
It's the best of both worlds. Like you get to go play at your dream school, and like you get one of the most iconic coaches in LSU history, like to work with as well. Now it's surreal for him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Any other football notes you want to go through before we move over to baseball?
No, I think that about covers it.
All righty, let's move over to baseball. I'm going to go through some of the guys that have entered the transfer portal because I feel like that kind of is a great segue into kind of what we're doing here. Maverick Rizzi enters the transfer portal along with Peyton Harden, Trent Carraway, DJ Primo, and Jaden Newt. Am I missing anybody? I don't think I've seen anybody else. Baseball transfer portal is so hard to track because the coverage on a national scale is so hard to follow sometimes.
Read it one more time. Who'd you say? I was trying to pull up a list.
Rizzi, Harden, Carraway, Primo, Newt.
No, I think that's it. I think I think that's the core. There's maybe one or two, like there may be more that we think may happen, but that's all that we know for sure so far.
Yeah, Rizzi definitely hurts. I mean, all of them are going to hurt in one way or another, but Rizzi's definitely probably the biggest name that you didn't really probably expect to see in the transfer portal. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I think Peyton Harden. I'm sorry, not Peyton Harden. Peyton Harden.
Daniel Harden.
Daniel Harden. Peyton Harden was a McNeese baseball player that I covered back in the day.
Yeah.
But I think that's an interesting one because I'm just going to say it. If, you thought the entire LSU outfield was not going to be back next year, why would you enter the transfer portal?
That is a very good question.
You think you'd have a solid spot at a starting job next year?
Right. And let's also not forget, I know he didn't play a whole lot, especially in the second half of the season.
Right.
But he was like one of their, I'm not talking about just stats, but like he was used like as much as anybody in the fall. He was when I went to Biloxi for the fall scrimmage against Samford, he was hitting leadoff in those games, or it was, I don't know if it was leadoff. I'm sorry, it was like first or second, like because that was like the first time I started to learn a little bit more about him. And then in the preseason scrimmages, he was like at the top of the lineup every single weekend in those lines. So like it's clear what they thought about him, and then it's how would you if you think you're losing 3 starters, how do you not feel good about getting playing time, like you said?
I'm just gonna let the silence marinate for a second. Just okay. I think we've got it. Oh boy. All right. So we've probably had, I think it's exactly 2 weeks today, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? Since the loss to Auburn, is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Having had some time to marinate on this, what are your thoughts on the broader picture of this season?
Honestly, and this is gonna sound like an excuse. It's not. Once all the news came out about how hurt and banged up they were, on top of what we already knew, it was like, man, it all kind of makes sense now. And they still shouldn't have been as bad as it was. Don't get me wrong. But Curiel with the ankle. We found out Cooper Moore hurt himself in the weight room. Stanley indeed did break his hand. What happened with Jake? Case and Schmidt doesn't make his last 2 starts. All this combined, like, and adding up, and that doesn't necessarily spell for doom in a nutshell by itself, but combined with what Jay talked about earlier in the year with missing the portal like they did, like it's just, you can't have all that happen and not be able to get the contributions you hope for from like a Caraway in New York. Like it just, all of that, both of those together, they may have been able to manage it, like missing on the portal with the guys they, in-house if they stayed healthy, or they may have been able to make it work. If those guys were doing well, they could fill in, next man up type of thing. But both of them combined, it's just, it just, like, they would just, I don't know. It still kind of baffles me. I'm like, honestly, like how it went that wrong. But I think a combination of those 2 things is a good starting point.
Yeah. I mean, I think the interesting thing to think about is if you don't have those injuries, like you are probably a 2024 plus team, but because of those injuries, like you fell flat. And like there was no doubt the amount of talent that was on this team. It was just, like you said, the compilation of things that just another one after another one after another one. And it's just, you couldn't get any momentum, I think, is really what the problem was. And you just didn't have the strength to do it because you were hurt so bad.
Yeah. And that goes into like what we talked about so often, the lack of complementary baseball. And I mean, we knew Jay said he was going to get the offense fixed, and he did. It maybe took a little bit longer than we thought. or that he would have hoped for. But I think the combination of the offense didn't get where it needed to be in time for the pitching to hold up. It took a little bit long, and like that was an in between. Like it was like the A&M weekend. It's kind of like that buffer spot where that was the last weekend for pitching. And what I think would happen with the pitching staff was that, due to the injuries and the struggles of certain guys and not getting what you needed from certain guys that you expected more from, I really think the biggest issue for the pitching staff was that they just ran out of gas, like all of them. Like Sheeran was electric in Hoover, don't get me wrong, but he was kind of struggling down the stretch, or in struggling for him.
Right.
Not his better performances. Cowan slipped a little bit down the stretch. We could go on and on, but I think the pitching needed the offense to kick into gear a little bit earlier than they did, and then it was just too far gone at that point.
Yeah, it really was, and maybe that'll be a good idea for a show for us to do next week too. Is to kind of talk about taking what we've kind of learned from this team this year and how you can apply that to improving next year. Because like it's just, and I'm sure Jay will kind of look back on it this year as a large teaching moment, and being able to take some of the mistakes that he made in terms of portal stuff and in terms of like, I guess, player management in terms of like activity, I guess.
Yeah.
And kind of building from there and kind of learning from there. Because it's you're not going to see this again. You're not going to see this bad of a Jay Johnson team again.
No.
Jay Johnson would have to leave and go to the MLB or retire 10 years from now for you to have to see this poor of an LSU baseball team again. And I think that's probably the biggest bright side of 2026 is like Jay knows what he did wrong. Jay is committed to improving this. And I think another really interesting thing to come out of this week is I believe Verge came out and said they're going to hire somebody for the future to manage baseball transfer portal guys on to come in and do visits and everything like that, so Jay doesn't have to worry about that when they're in Omaha.
Still playing, right? Yep. That's hearing him say that, like that. If you're going to hire a guy, I know, and Paul's been all over this. Credit to Paul with not, saying don't fall for the lip service that he gives about like, to shut everyone up about giving Jay the money that everyone knows he deserves and has been saying that he deserves. But that gives me hope, because why would you be hiring a guy for a position like that if you didn't intend on needing him, and investing in the way that they should be. But yeah, we're going to get into more portal stuff, within the next few weeks. But I also don't think that, I've been saying this to everybody. I think it's going to be quality over quantity for Jay in the portal this go round, because we talked about the core that you have. Like we know that. Like, so I don't think he's just going to go sign a bunch of guys, like it may seem like, but him having as much time as he does, he's going to be able to zone in on the dudes that he wants. I love that.
Check your phone. I just threw you a name that I don't want to say on air.
That'd be interesting.
And I'm saying that because, like, what you were talking about with the cop out, that would be the easiest, most Verge Osprey logical way to do that.
That would be.
And I don't know if I love it or I hate it, to be honest.
Yeah, TBD.
I don't know. David and I will talk about that if we want to come back and say that later. I don't think I'll say that tonight. It might be for another day.
We would be swinging in the dark right now.
Right. We can work on that. I might be able to make something happen with that. We'll see. Any other thoughts on 2026 LSU baseball before we get into some other things?
I think we mostly covered it. We'll it's hard to tell. Well, you said 2026. I was gonna say I am interested to see his construction going forward, to where something like this doesn't happen again. I know they felt like they had more starting pitchers going into the year than they ended up with, but we saw how losing one, can derail everything, and then it just snowballed.
Right.
But yeah, I'm curious. I feel like we've said pretty much everything we can about the past. I'm curious to see how he uses the past for the future. How summer ball plays out, how he uses guys, and how much they throw in the off season, in the fall. I mean, and all that going forward. But I don't, like you said, I don't expect to see anything close to this ever again.
Nope.
Like it's just move on. Wash your hands of it. We had a great weekend of college baseball. We talked about that. Fantastic weekend of college baseball. We went to regionals this past weekend. It felt weird, not being part of it, but still, the college baseball is great regardless.
Check on your local Rocco's worker. Make sure they're doing okay.
They need West Virginia. They are rooting hard for West Virginia.
I'm sure they are. All right, let's get into our new game that we like to play, that we're going to like to play. Mount Tigermore. It's obviously a play on Mount Rushmore season. Here we go. All righty. So this is going to work very similar to Stripes. We're going to go back and forth snake drafting between me and David. I did add another column for everybody watching. So at the end, there's somebody on the list that you think should have made it that we didn't pick. Drop it in the comments, and we'll get it added up in there one way or another. Today, our topic is going to be what I've called cult heroes a lot between you and me, and we've talked to Paul about it too, and what I've called cult heroes a lot. It's probably not the most accurate, so that's why I threw fan favorites in there. The goal of what I was trying to put out here was to create a list of guys and girls maybe who may have not been the most talented or the best player on their team, but the fans just absolutely fell in love with. And you saw how hard they worked and the energy they brought to their respective teams, and the fan base enjoyed them for that and enjoyed seeing them play for that. We had a discussion earlier about this, so David is going to go first.
So actually, since then, I thought of another name that I think could apply even more than the one I was talking to.
Oh boy!
And this dude was, I don't know if this it qualifies, but if you're talking about like not the best, this dude was awesome. So,
right.
But I feel like the cult hero part of it has to be weighed more than like his actual talent, just because, let's say it, Chad Jones.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The dreadlocks of doom. Like he had unfortunately the accident in his NFL career didn't go the way. But Chad Jones, really not just for his talent level. Everyone loved Chad Jones.
Yep.
I mean, everything about him was awesome. I mean, obviously he was great in football. He was, I forgot what round he went, but a high pick. But just what he meant, and like, and almost more for baseball. The cult hero part of it almost kind of applies more to baseball, because he came in just throwing 98 from the left side with the dreadlocks bouncing around and all. Chad Jones was a legend.
That he was. He absolutely was. I just realized I'm typing on the wrong thing. Give me a second.
You're good.
Here we go.
I wonder what Chad Jones is up to nowadays.
I believe his son was it was a 3-star recruit in football too. It was a wide receiver, if I remember correctly. Obviously he couldn't really have much of a pro career because of the accident, but that's a really good one.
That's
Is
not
that
even
the
what I
one?
was talking about. No, that's not
Damn
even
it.
it.
Oh,
I thought about that one
I'm
after.
so upset. Oh
You're
man.
gonna, there's another good one I got.
I have 2 picks here. I think this one is kind of a reach in terms of like the cult hero or not the best player on the team because he was probably one of the most talented players on the team. But I think his vibe and his work ethic and his grit is part of what made me think of him in this conversation. I'm going to go Jacob Hester.
Yeah.
Like bring back the fullback. Jacob Hester was an absolute monster and one of the most fun players that I've ever gotten to watch across any sport. The other is another one who like kind of how I've talked about Eddie Yaman, right? Like the ultimate vibes guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the professional hitter Chris Reed.
Nice.
Like I feel like from doing push-ups and sit-ups and whatever in the dugout to when you needed to clutch hit, just all right, let's go, Chris. Come on.
Yep.
Like a really, really fun player to watch.
I like those too. I like Hester, like and what his post career has turned into now, radio host and at Baton Rouge, so covering like it's just his legacy lives on. And Chris Reed's awesome too. I love always seeing him talk LSU baseball on X. Here's the one that you missed. And this was going to be a 1-1 if not for Chad Jones. Todd Peterson. Todd Peterson, another legend of the cult hero.
Oh man,
comes in and not pinch hits. He had to hit because of the situation. Hits a double off the wall in Hoover to tie. I don't have to go through the whole moment. Todd Peterson, and then the interviews after the how do you say it? He didn't say I dropped bombs. He said I forgot exactly what I said. Now I'm thinking about it. But then going to the post-game presser with Paul Maneri and telling Paul Maneri that he lied and didn't hit in high school. Just Todd Peterson's the best, man.
How did I forget that one?
That's the one I told you. I was like,
I came up with a list of 18 people, and for some reason forgot Todd Peterson. I knew I was going to forget somebody.
I don't know if this one is going to play for everybody as much as it does me because I was there at the same time as him. But from being in Tigerland with him at the same time and just like the fanfare around him when he was playing, Herman Johnson, I absolutely love. Massive. I forgot how big he was at the time, but I don't know if he's been overtaken to this point, but at the time was the largest baby ever born in the state of Louisiana. Played left tackle. This dude would be at Reggie's or Fred's, wherever we were, on $5 pitcher night. It'd be at the end of the night, and you'd have a full pitcher left, and you didn't want to go to waste, and Big Herm would just take it and just down the whole thing like it was one of us drinking a 12-ounce beer and chugging it. It was awesome.
That's incredible. I don't know if I've heard that story before. That's awesome.
It was so much. Him and Glenn Dorsey were a blast.
I'm sure they were, man. Oh, that's a good one. All right, so I got my final 2 picks here. I like I said, I've got 18 people here written down. I've used a couple of them. I feel like I have to go Zach Mettenberger for one, because when you classify cult hero, like Zach Mettenberger had like the biggest cult following through LSU and like post LSU of like, for better, like not like saying he didn't deserve it. Don't get me wrong, because he was a talented quarterback, but like he was like so like beloved.
Yeah.
And I think that was it, like one of the first people I thought of when it came to like cult hero guys. I just messed with my thing a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
While I fix that, the other one that I'm going to go with is in a very similar vein, Danny Etling. Like the Danny Etling is a good quarterback memes and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Danny Etling was. I had a class with Danny. Danny was an extremely nice guy. Like, I was part of the Danny Etling cult for a little while there too.
Yeah. They were both great. It was like finally just good to see them have like a really good quarterback after some really rough years going.
And that's probably what it was like we were starved for good quarterbacks that you had those two guys come through and they were like, oh my God, we have somebody who could actually throw the ball consistently. Yes.
Yeah. Right. You actually got, big quarterbacks through the transfer portal before a transfer portal was even a thing.
Right.
Where did Etling come from? Was it Purdue?
Yes. Etling was a Purdue guy.
And Mettenberger was Georgia, huh? Yeah.
Yes. Georgia via some community college.
That's right. That's right.
I have it pulled up right here. Butler Community College.
Butler. With my final pick, this is a more recent one, but I just feel like it plays well. Will Helmers was just, for the way his career ended, was just a legendary performance. And not that we're talking about on field, but to him to come out and just do what he did at UNC, but he was the pump up guy, in the dugouts before the game, rip his shirt off, get the team pumped up and all of that. And that one's, if will forever have a spot in LSU baseball fans' heart, just for his time, at LSU and now still in Baton Rouge, got a show doing his own thing. It's he's another good one.
That he is. Gonna run through the rest of my list that I didn't get to, just for fun. Maybe throw out some ideas for some people in the comments. I had Kramer Robertson on there. We had kind of talked about this beforehand. He may have been a little too much on the top tier of. Oh, that's a good one. Tyler Cooley throwing in Cade Veloso.
I think
I had Cade Veloso on my list as well. Cade's a really good one. I'm gonna throw Cade on there right now because that's definitely a good one. I had Kramer Robertson on there because that was one I thought may have been too high end of the talent level on the team. Cole Freeman, his middle infield partner, was another good one. May have just been, him being a local guy to us. That was why I kind of, enjoyed watching him play as much as I did. Thaddeus Smalls is another one who I really wanted to get in there, but really couldn't. Bavin's throwing out a few for us. I'll leave that comment up while I go through. I had Livy Dunn on there because, Livy struggled with injuries through her gymnastics career, but, she brought so many eyes to the LSU gymnastics, team that, may not have been there if she wasn't there. I had to throw Eddie Yaman in there. I had Trenton Holiday as well, who's, another one I really, really, really wanted to get in there, but I couldn't really find a spot. Zai Alexander, there's a connection there with me. Andre Sam, same thing. I loved watching Andre Sam. Russell Shepard, just kind of do-it-all athlete. Garrett Brumfield for his wittiness and his personality that you kind of saw towards the end of 2019. Gio DiGiacomo was somebody who I hated to see him transfer out and go to Duke. Keelan Williams, who I had the pleasure of meeting a couple weeks ago, incredible guy, really, really fun to talk to. Very, I had no clue who he was either. Because I had only ever seen him with a helmet on, and that was 16 years ago almost, and so seeing him in person and not really knowing who he was until we started having conversation. I'm like, dude, I had your jersey as a kid.
You're right.
Another one I really wanted to throw on there just so that I knew my friend Sam would love if I threw him on there was Marlon Taylor, one of the first Will Wade era LSU basketball players. Could jump out of the gym, man. Was an absolute astronaut in terms of how high he could get. And the last one's another one that's a shout out to my friend group. We were in love with Alex Milazzo.
For sure.
That was about the extent of my list.
Yeah, I didn't go a whole lot deeper than what you sent me when we decided, to do it. But the only other ones I was really thinking of was I feel like you'd have to put them together. But the Jordan twins, Bryce and Bo
This is a good
Jordan.
one. This is a good one.
Oh
too.
yeah! Oh my God, that's a great one. Yep,
I'll throw that one up there.
that's a great one. Yeah, the Jordan twins. One I was kind of thinking about. I don't know if it was. He's probably he's more than cult hero, but like Warren Morris.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah.
One considered one. It's
Right.
tough when we're just describing exactly how we're doing it, but I'm blanking on his name so much, which is going to like defeat the whole context of me saying his name with this. But Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and who? What was? Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh, Terrace Marshall.
Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall. I feel like still to this day, we look and it's like, dude, if he would have got drafted anywhere else other than Carolina, he could be doing what those two dudes are doing. Like we knew how good he could have been, how awesome he was. It's like, man, if the Saints would have got him, like who knows? Like he'll forever live in our heart as being like, part of that trio. It wasn't just it's just them two now, but Brad Cressy, that's a good one from Paul.
I also got a text request from a friend of mine to throw Trenton Holiday in there.
Yeah, I would have said him too.
So we might have to throw Trenton Holiday in there. I always struggle to spell Trenton's name.
I think it's Trindon.
Yeah, EonHollidday. I can't spell for anything today. Jeez. All right, got it. Yeah, so we'll post that.
Another one I thought about was Glenn Davis was another one I thought too.
Glenn Davis is
he ended up going having like it's just hard when we're like trying not to just go the best, while they were here and stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty damn solid list.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Alrighty, let us move on from here, and we are back. Stop sharing that. Going back to my outline. All right. Couple other broader topics. I'm going to go with the state legislature piece for a second. Public records request with a 92-1 vote. The House gives final passage to LSU-backed bill to create new public records exemption to hide info about college athletic programs and how they spend money on revenue sharing with athletes and with individual sports. It is now set to be the governor may have signed it today. I know he was signing some other things today. So one of the first things we talked about in this show.
Sure is.
That never should have gone through.
Nice try.
Yeah. Very, very happy to see that pass. We don't need to know what these kids are making. We really don't.
No.
I mean, it's unnecessary. Like, that's not to rehash this whole entire thing, but it's invasion of privacy, man.
It is. And especially for just like a single state, and if you would have made Louisiana do it, like we talked about, it would have been a disadvantage. And you can look at them, you can treat them like pros, like Lane talked about all you want and all, but they're not. No. They're not paid employees, and
they're taking classes.
Right. But we can't just put that information out there just because you want to be able to write about it. It's just not fair to students and student athletes. So it credit to Louisiana for making the right move.
Yep, 100%. The other thing, more on a national scale, we had David and I had a text conversation about this earlier today, and he's like, "This would be great for the show." So we're just gonna talk about this now. Former MLB baseball player for the Los Angeles Angels, Jordan Adams, has enrolled at SMU to play football. Adams was a wide receiver who was ranked higher in the class than Jamar Chase was back in what was that? 2017 recruiting class.
Yeah, 2018 was Jamar's freshman year.
Yeah. when I first saw the headline, I thought he was enrolling at SMU to play baseball, and I was like ready to go scorched earth with
All
everybody
caps.
who told
Told
me.
you I'd say
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
I was ready to go scorched earth on this. But it's still it's a really, really weird situation that I mean LSU benefited from it on a much smaller scale in terms of a punter. Like Zach Von Rosenberg went and played pro baseball for a few years in the Pirates organization, then came back and punted for LSU. So like it's weird.
It's just too far. I mean, the line's got to be kind of drawn somewhere. I mean, but like a 26-year-old former professional athlete has no business coming back, even if it's a different sport, and playing against 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds.
Right.
Like it's just and we're gonna see everyone's finding these loopholes now, but like Zach and I talked about, it's like, how do you fix it? It almost just seems like I don't know what they can put in, like legalese wise, but like it's like once you sign a professional contract, I know, and we talked about, like, this applies to like LSU basketball recruits right now. Like, so, but like you sign a professional contract, like that should be it. Like, move on.
Yeah.
Or even if you sign it, like you touch the field one time, it's just it's a hairy situation.
I'm going to go through a couple comments real quick because I think there's some valuable stuff here. I am going to go throw a shout out real quick to my friend Dal, a fellow Manchester United fan that I've met through the X Spaces, shouting out the jersey I have on tonight. Jersey I got in Venice. Really fun.
I was wondering what he was talking about.
Yeah. It was the jersey. Good to see him in here. I have like a whole like section of my X account that is all like Manchester United people. And I was like, I wonder if they like see that I'm like live sometimes and like, what the hell is he doing? Like
that's funny.
But good to see him in here. Paul's saying he has no problem with it. I get both sides of it. I do. Because like, yeah, he didn't use his eligibility in football, but you still like signed a pro contract. Like, and I guess in the NIL era, it's a little different because like you sign the pro contract, you get the pro money, and you come back and like outside of the NIL era, like these kids don't have that same money that you do. And it's kind of like semi unfair, but
yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, when does it stop? My concern is like he is just like the first to do it. How many more are going to try to do it now? And then it gets into this, I don't know. It becomes more of a thing, and not to be like that's not fair guy, but like now you got, like I said, a 26-year-old former professional athlete now taking the spot of like a high school kid, that's trying to find a spot. I don't like, even if you tell me it's just one time, whatever.
Right.
I don't like the trickle down effect that carries on.
Right. And we kind of discussed this over text too. It's like it's hard to like go back and then regulate that posthumously, for lack of a better term, because like then you go in and say, okay, well you get X amount of years for all sports, and you like once you sign pro, like you can't come back. Like it's a weird space to get into, but like I see both sides of it, man. It's I don't know. It's weird.
It's very weird. Like I said, I don't know if there's like how you legislate it, like it's like a simultaneous eligibility thing to where like you could, like if you play football and baseball, it doesn't count as 2 years of eligibility in the same calendar year, but it just seems like once you move on, once you hit that next step, there should be no coming back. Right.
Once you sign a pro contract, like that's when things kind of get iffy. Ryan brought up another really good thing to talk about. The quarterback from UCLA entered the transfer portal as a track athlete.
Yep.
and then transfers to Austin P. Really, another really interesting loophole that we haven't really seen used yet to this point, because like the football portal's closed, but he's
And
a
no
track
spring
athlete, so he's
Right.
like, it's so like, what? That's gonna get fixed. It's gotta get fixed. They can't do that.
No, it's like I'm trying to think of a comparison, but I don't know, like just like a fantasy football league where you find some little loophole and how you can. I don't know. I'm not thinking of a good example,
Are
but
you
like
throwing
where it's
shade at
something.
me, Chris?
No. But
Because
just
there's
like how
somebody else in
you.
that league who would have loved to have thrown that shade at me and Chris.
Oh no. But just like how you see something happen, and it's immediately like, oh my god, I can't believe I've never thought of that. But that's got to be fixed, and
Right.
that's what that is. And maybe it hasn't happened before, because like I said, this is the first calendar year with no
Right.
spring football transfer
Right.
portal window. So credit to him, he made it work. But I would imagine that gets nipped really quickly.
Yeah, because like he's gonna go to Austin P and not play football now. Like, come on.
Yeah, right.
They're
Or he
gonna
said
tell
he's
him
gonna
he has to
walk
sit
on
out a
now.
year. Right.
Yeah, right.
They're gonna
right.
tell him he has to sit out a year. Like, you can't really do that because like this is the first time you've seen it. But
Right.
like, I hope it gets fixed, because obviously Trey's Green isn't necessarily with the basketball team anymore. That may change considering, whatever's going on with the basketball team. And we may get into that in a few episodes from now. Seems like we're getting close to talking CJ into coming in and being a guest on the show. We're thinking 2 weeks from now, and we'll have like a blanket transfer portal episode. But like Trey's Green was a basketball player. Basketball portal opens. Could he just like dip and like go outside of the football window? Ahmad
Right.
Hudson's gonna plan on playing basketball and football. Like, is that a scenario that like, I hope they find a way to fix that loophole pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's just like an extra hurdle, and concern that programs have to have and coaches
Right.
have to have. That just seems unnecessary, and yeah, I imagine it'll be fixed quickly though.
That gotta be. Anything else before we wrap up and get out of here? You go enjoy the rest of your beach vacation, and I go figure out what my sleep schedule is coming back from Europe.
God bless you. I can't imagine.
I didn't sleep on the plane the entire way there or back.
Geez.
Like, I
haven't been on a
cannot.
plane ride that
I
long,
cannot,
but-
man.
Man. No, it's the first episode since I joined and the Valley Shook as a contributing writer. Excited to be part of that. So of writing there, I haven't got, this happened. I think this was Thursday. I think it was Thursday.
I can't even tell you what
I can't-
that was.
I-
I
like,
remember
my
where
days-
I was when I found out, but I can't tell
My
you.
days have all run together since these trips. But
You know what? It was Thursday, because I know
Thursday.
I was at a bar in Florence waiting to go eat. And I was talking with Teresa about traveling on the train the next day, because we went to Venice on Friday. So yes, it was Thursday.
Thursday. That's what I thought. Yeah, so it happened quickly. And the Valley Shook is the LSU. Thank you, Tyler. The LSU branch of SB Nation. Which is also it's like on a much bigger scale. It's almost like everyone is like locked on, like how they got locked on in each little branch. Like that's what it is. And the Valley Shook is the SB Nation branch of it for LSU. It's run by Tina Howell, who anybody who follows the Saints probably knows Tina Howell's name in New Orleans, like that area. She's awesome. Runs Canal Street Chronicles, which is probably the best Saints, one of the best Saints blogs out there. Like well run. Like by Tina, as Tina Howell spent time at the No. Like Tina Howell is awesome. So once I knew she was involved, then I was very excited about that. But once I get home, we'll start getting some stuff, put together. But yeah, excited to be a part of that team.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Very happy for you, my friend. Very, very happy. A lot of exciting stuff going on in that space. We will all be on the lookout for it. So, I think that's about it. We plan on being live same time next week. Trying to think if there's anything else we need to get through before we get into the closing credits.
Yeah. No, I don't. It feels like I feel like it's been a month, but
it does feel like it's been a month.
Exactly. And to be clear, that doesn't that doesn't change anything with the no. I want y'all to know that, like with the writing and the cover and the style, we still got plenty of stuff coming with y'all for the no. I'm sorry I didn't specify that before, but that's just as another thing that we're going to be working on all together, just to make better content for everybody. So
absolutely. Alrighty, let's get through these credits. We appreciate all of you joining us. I mean, took a week off. Couldn't really logistically, it was going to be a nightmare for David trying to do this from the beach, because I think you were there for Wednesday last week as well, weren't you? Or you were packing up?
No, I was out of town working. Yeah, I was in Texas.
Either way, David was out of town. This would have been like in the middle of the night for me, so like trying to do this last week would not have been fun for either of us. And we appreciate all of you coming back. We appreciate all of you watching. Make sure to go follow us. I'm at Zach Nunez TV. He is at DC Billiard Jr. You can follow the show at Go Deep Dive on X, go.deep.dive on TikTok, and at Go Deep Dive on Instagram. I got to remember to go look and see if I can change that on TikTok, but it's almost like a running joke now because it's funny to try to say. Make sure you go follow the No at Be in the Know and check out all of the wonderful articles on there. I may repost my article again just because we've talked about it a decent amount here. I don't think I missed anything. I think we're good.
Nope, I think we're good. Quickly, congratulations to our silent partner with the No on his wedding and honeymoon as well. He knows who he is. No, this is for him, nobody else. So congrats, friend, silent partner.
I wasn't sure if I could say that or not, so I'll let you say it, and if you get in trouble, that's on you.
Silent partner. No one knows.
All right. Thank you all. Peace. Go Tigers.
Thank you guys. Go Tigers.
Tigers, go 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 Tigers.